What's up, beautiful people? It's Hershey Sunday, and I'm back with the scoop after dark. How are you? I hope that you are doing well wherever you are, whether you're at home, whether you're at work, whether you are driving in your car, honey. Thank you for tuning in, and just know that you are very much welcomed here, and I'm happy to have you. I want to first start off by telling everyone who has been listening and who has been telling other people to listen, thank you, thank you, thank you. After the first episode dropped last week, I had a lot of you give me calls and send me messages, giving me your congratulations and well wishes. And it meant so much to me to have your support. I just wanted to take the time out to say thank you because it really did mean a lot. Okay, brought me to tears. And you know I'm a sentimental girl, okay? And if you haven't had a chance to listen to the first episode, go ahead and just roll on over to Spotify, to Apple Podcasts, and to my YouTube. It's all under the same name, The Scoop with Hershey Sunday After Dark. Give it a listen and then let me know what you think. So tonight's episode, we are talking about those four letters, baby. We are talking about love, okay? This is a love and romance episode. I actually named this episode Romance Reimagined because I want to get into a few of the nuances about love, but also just kind of shedding some light on it as well. In a positive way, of course. But before we get into that, honey, I am still a Black woman and it is still Black History Month. Okay. And funny enough, episode one, I was so nervous and excited and, all over the place that I forgot a few of the Black history info facts that I had, written up, that I had looked up online, and I didn't even get a chance to tell you guys about it. So what we're gonna do tonight, baby, is we're gonna do a double scoop of Black history moments. Okay, who don't like a little extra scoop? I know you do. Okay. The first one we're going to talk about, which I thought was very fitting, especially because of this episode, is we're going to talk about two Black women writers. So in the early 1900s, Black women writers like Nella Larsen and Jessie Redmond Fawcett were already writing about romance, longing, and emotional intimacy at a time when Black women were rarely allowed to be soft, desired, or loved out loud. They wrote Black women as complex, as sensual, as worthy of tenderness. Long before social media, and long before conversations about soft life, Black women were already imagining and claiming a love that felt safe, mutual, and real. And a few other things that I wrote down about each one that I saw online was with Nella Larsen. She was part of the Harlem Renaissance. Okay. She centered inner emotional worlds for Black women. Like I mentioned, she wrote about longing, restlessness, being dissatisfied. Um, she has novels such as Passing and Quicksand that explore desire versus duty and the cost of being acceptable. And with Jessie Redmond Fawcett, she was a novelist and a poet. She wrote about middle class Black life. She centered romance, marriage, and tenderness. And her novels were Plum Bun and There is Confusion. So when you have an opportunity, okay, these are two Black women authors that you can look up and look at some of their work. Our next Black history moment comes from a young Black inventor named Contrell Wingfield. Okay, this is Black innovation at its best. He's only 25 years old, and he is the creator of something that has literally never existed before. He's created the world's first digital cake stand. Now, I came across him on my TikTok a few days ago, and I thought the story was so unique and also familiar because I too had a kind of the same thing when it came to my first project. So he said that he actually had a dream that his grandmother had this cake that she was baking, put it into this cake stand, and it heated. And he said he woke up, he wrote that down. After he woke up, he started calling around and seeing if anyone has had, a digital cake stand, if it's ever been done. Everyone told him no. So in 2023, baby, he got busy and started working on it. In 2026, he created Velvera, which is the world's first cake stand. So if you are looking for a cake stand that is digital and that can warm your treats, head on over to velverawarm.com and you can purchase them there. Alrighty, Scoops. Next, we are going to talk about what brought me comfort for the week. Now, the previous week I told you I was preparing for the Boys to Men New Edition Tony Braxton concert. Well, I went to the concert and it was everything. It was chef's kiss. Everyone did a great job. I'm gonna tell you what I love the most. Being able to see them go one after another instead of one act do all of their songs and then the next act. Everyone came one after another, so you were able to really enjoy their work. It's like they all work together, and it flowed effortlessly. If you haven't seen this show, please go ahead and if it's in your town, go see them. It was worth it. It was a beautiful night. It was also restaurant week. I mean, it was just a beautiful vibe, and I enjoyed myself, honey. Had a funky good time. So, that definitely brought me comfort. Bridgerton season 4. Have y'all watched it yet? Have you gotten into Bridgerton season 4? Now, I say this because last season I was not pleased with it. Okay, if you're a Bridgerton fan, a lot of us were not pleased with season 3. But I'm gonna tell you, season 4 to me, okay, clock it is it's kind of good. Now they do the half and half season, which I don't quite understand. So the first 4 episodes are on Netflix, but give it a little look. See, it's pretty interesting. In my opinion, it gives Cinderella elements, so that was enjoyable. Like I said, the first 4 episodes are out now. The next 4 will be out in a few weeks. I believe like the 26th or 27th of February. So go ahead and check that out. Oh, I had dinner with my girlfriends. Now, when I had dinner with my girlfriends, it was on February 1st. So I had, recorded the show, didn't get a chance to talk about that. But we had such a great time. We had such a great time just getting together, laughing, dancing, just, baby, we had a ball, okay? And it really did replenish and refill my cup just being with my girlfriends. So it was so much fun. Um, I also went to a dance class, okay? Listen, I just came here to dance for y'all. That's it. And I did do that. Diva Dance, located in Bronzeville, in the Bronzeville neighborhood of Chicago, Illinois, which is Black and woman owned, okay, by Miss Deanna Wheeler. I attended the class, which was being taught by Raphael, who did an impeccable job. We danced to Summer Walker's Heart of a Woman, and I had such a good time. I had such a good time. If by chance you want to see me Tootsie rolling and all that jazz, okay? On over to my YouTube, head on over to my TikTok. I did upload a video where you can see the routine that we did. It was so much fun. I told you I want to be more proactive with moving my body, and it just, we're at that age, okay? We're at a particular age. You better move something, okay? While you still can. So, I had so much fun. I definitely will be back. Diva Dance, again in Bronzeville, in the Bronzeville neighborhood of Chicago. Definitely check them out. We had a blast. All right, our next segment, we are going to talk about romantic love in tonight's reflection. And I wrote down a few topics, not too many, but I wrote down a few that I wanted to talk about. One of these were what does sustainable love actually look like? And also why grown love feels quieter but deeper, slash how uncomfortable it can feel when when you finally feel safe in a relationship. So for the first one, what does sustainable love actually look like? If you are at a particular age, which a lot of my listeners are, I mean, we have all either been in relationships, long-term relationships is what I'm trying to say, or marriages, things of the sort, and being able to sustain it can be difficult for so many other reasons, okay? I think a lot of it has to also do with we change so much as people that if you are not willing or ready to keep up with the other person, you can leave a person behind. And then that's where sometimes resentment can grow if you're not careful. But I feel like a sustainable love looks like growth and also support. If I have to be specific, as a 30 something year old woman, okay, who I was in my early 20s is not who I am now. If a person is willing to grow with me and love me through these different changes in my life, because you think about it, I mean, we're not just talking about just age here. You're talking about your body is literally changing. How you think mentally is changing. If you're in your career for however many years, it's changed. Your employment, the world around us, it has changed so much. And sometimes people can be left behind if they're not willing to support their partner in those changes. I think that also sustainable love actually looks like clear communication. I'm a big advocate on communication because so many things can be translated negatively if you're not openly talking about it. Okay. It's one of the reasons why I'm not a huge texter. Okay. I'll do it. I'm not opposed to it, obviously. It's the way of the world, but I need to hear you verbally. I need to hear your vocals. I need to hear inflection. You know, I need to hear those things because I need to actually know how you're conveying a message, how you communicate. Is it fluent communication? Are you the type to stonewall when it's something that you don't want to talk about or you just don't want to hear? I think sustainable love looks like communication, support, and growth. What about you? What would you say sustainable love is? And if you've been married or in a long term relationship for a number of years, like what have you done in that relationship to keep that love sustainable? I would love to hear from you. Let me know. The next question that I wrote down too was why grown love feels quieter but deeper. Oh, I think we've all been there. When you're young and you just, oogling and ogling one another, of course you want to announce it to the world and be booed up, and I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. I think that there's a beauty in that too, showing off this new love, and even if you're older, showing off a new love. But I think that when you reach a particular age, and if you've been through certain types of relationships, there's a comfort in knowing that this love is grounded and it doesn't necessarily need to be loud to be heard or seen. Well, it feels good to be seen and you don't have to do too much, in my opinion. And it doesn't mean that you can't celebrate your partner. I think that you should. I think that you need to love your person out loud. And you also need to know what type of partner you have. I don't, some people are very much against like talking about their spouses or their partners for whatever reason. They don't, you'll barely know that they're together, okay, because they don't want to mention it. But it's like, sometimes it's good to exalt them, but I think it's also good to know that you don't necessarily always have to be the loudest about it. Sometimes it's a look. Sometimes it's being able to see that they're so in sync that they don't have to say much. It's the comfort of knowing that I can sit next to you and hold your hand and I'm fine, I'm safe, I'm comfortable. Okay. It's something about that I just think is beautiful personally. And again, this isn't knocking people wanting to verbalize it or be super vocal about their love. I don't think it's necessarily anything wrong with it. It really does depend on the couple. But for me, I think that there is a way to be proud about your love. Not hide it, obviously. I don't think you need to hide it. But also there's a way to, you grown, you seasoned. When you don't have to talk too loud and you don't have to do too much. Okay, you've seen it. You've seen that couple. They've probably been married for a million years, okay? Since milk was in glass. All right. Um, and they're just cool. Baby, they just cool. They just go with the flow. They just in sync. And I think that there's something beautiful about it. I really do. What do you think? Are you a person that wants to be loved out loud, verbally? Are you big on announcements? Are you big on, those things? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Again, I have to say that a few times because sometimes people take things the wrong way. I'm not saying don't post him or her. I'm not saying don't tell people you married, because child, they'll try it. Well, her said you got to be real quiet about love. No, 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 no. I ain't say hide that person. I said there's a beauty in being grown, and it can be quieter, okay, and deeper versus the puppy love that you experience like in your teens and early 20s sometimes. That's what I'm saying. So don't get caught lacking, okay? But let me know what you think. The next one I had was how uncomfortable it can feel when you finally feel safe in a relationship. Listen, dating someone that is intentional, that communicates, okay, and communicates well, that listens to the little things, that is okay with hearing your side, understanding your feelings, where you're coming from, that takes a true interest in you. When you've dealt with partners in the past that did not do those things, people don't talk about how traumatic it is, how much you overthink. Now, not getting too far in my business, like dealing with that and the contrast of a person who is intentional, it's just a pleasure. You know what I'm saying? A pleasure to be around, a pleasure to um, be a partner with, versus dealing with someone that makes it very hard to love. The mental gymnastics, because you're overthinking, you're not sure if you can feel safe at first. It takes time to sink in and be like, oh, this is who this person actually is. What they're saying to me is who they are. I don't have to, brace for impact. I don't have to close my eyes and open one and hope that, this is actually who they are. And I'm not saying people are perfect. So I want to preface this by saying people aren't perfect, but when you're dealing with a person and they are who they say they are, and they're being intentional, and they are, a good person, a good partner, it can be triggering. I've had to talk myself off the ledge a few times because I was not. I'm like, wait a minute. Am I being scammed? Is this a joke? And it's the truth. You don't know. Like, so many people run really good game, and then you come across like, no, this is, I'm just me. I'm just, and I'm pretty sure it's like that vice versa. You probably are being yourself. And baby, your partner is probably low key, quietly falling off the bone because I don't know if you're real or not. Baby, are you AI? Tell me the truth. Keep it real with me. What more do you want from me? Shout out to Tyrese, okay? But it's scary. Oh my God, it's so scary. It's so scary. Until enough time passes where you're like, okay, this is who this person says they are. And then you can rest in that. And then it's this light bulb, like, this is who this person says they are. Oh my goodness. Like, and you're comfortable, and you can, you're not, your heart isn't palpitating so much, it's triggering. It's so triggering. And if you're going through that, might I suggest therapy? And I'm not saying that to be condescending, and I'm definitely not saying that to be funny. I'm saying that because I've had to do it. Not specifically for that, but just throughout, throughout life, you go through stuff. I think that it's really healthy to talk to a therapist and deal with whatever traumas you've dealt with in past relationships. Because what you don't want is for the past to spill over into the present, right? It would be such a shame to have life bring you a good person, and because you haven't been able to heal, now you're spilling it over to this person and also traumatizing them, creating a cycle, right? We don't want to do that, right? So if you can, if you know that you're going through some, or have gone through heartbreak that you haven't quite healed from or come to terms with, it's okay to get a little help, to speak to someone about it and to kind of unpack where those things are coming from. And also, I think that when you do those things, especially before you meet your person, um, it's easy to know what you want and what you're willing to accept. You know what I mean? You can kind of gauge what you're looking for. You can also gauge the BS that's coming if it does come your way. You will have to compromise. That's life. But you know what I mean? I mean, things that are just like, oh, this is sheer disrespect. And I'm being gaslit to think that it's not. You know what I'm trying to say. My God, today. Look, I'm always saying, my God, today. My God, today. It could be traumatizing, but um, if you can speak to someone about it, if that's something that you've been through, definitely talk to someone about it. Okay. Like I said, we are living and loving positively. Okay. And if that is something that you are desiring, you deserve that. So it's nothing wrong with speaking with someone so that you can go into a new partnership um, healed and whole. You deserve it, and so does your partner. Now, the next segment I have is what became clear. Okay. Romance, worth, and the lie that we've been sold. Now, something else I really wanted to talk about and became really clear to me this week, and I was just thinking about it, was Holly Berry. I had saw her on, was it Jimmy Kimmel? No, not Jimmy Kimmel. What is that other dude's name? Child, I can't think of his name. She was on a talk show, right? Late night talk show. Jimmy Fallon, that's his name. I felt like somebody in the audience was listening and said Jimmy Fallon. So if you said that, baby, thank you, okay? Thank you. Jimmy Fallon. And she was clarifying that her and her partner, I guess the rumor was that he had proposed and she turned him down. But she had went on the show and was like, no, we just didn't set a date yet, but I definitely said yes. And Halle Berry, this will be her third marriage, okay? Now, just sit back with me, okay? I kind of want to get this out as best as I can. In my head, it makes sense. Hopefully, it'll make sense over this podcast. Thinking about Halle Berry. Now, this woman, there have been songs literally named after her, right? One of the most desired women in the world, literally the standard of beauty, the fantasy. Halle Berry is now almost 60. She's been married, divorced, loved, lost, tried, all of those things. And now, later in life, she looks calm. She looks happier. She looks softer. She looks like she has an ease and love that, you know, I don't think that she had before. And then I came across an interview with Gabourey Sidibe. Now, Gabourey Sidibe, she played the character Precious in the movie Precious. And she was speaking about her marriage and relationship. But I was thinking about her and Halle Berry. Now, Gabourey is a woman in society who have been told, because she is a heavier set woman, and I can identify because I am a heavier set woman, um, that she wasn't supposed to get the kind of love that she's getting because of her size, because of the deepness of her skin tone, because of her unconventional, non European or Eurocentric look. And yet she's married happily, raising twins with her husband, and being deeply loved from what I can see so far. So it became clear to me that society has been lying to us, y'all. Now, of course, some things are true, some things, there are caveats to many things. Being the standard of beauty, though, does not guarantee good treatment. If it has all of the standard of beauty, men and women would stay together and they wouldn't be cheated on and hurt and you know, having deceit within their relationship. And also, too, not fitting the standard, um, the quote unquote beauty standard does not disqualify you from real love and real lasting love. That's what I've thought about. And I think that the contrast of both women, because as a woman myself of a particular age, I'm in my 30s, we're taught um, both directly and indirectly that our age and our beauty is all that we have. Okay. And our ability to reproduce. Okay. And if we're not having these things, if we don't possess these things, we are no longer worth. You can be beautiful, but once you get to a certain age, you're old. Okay. And if you're too big, Ain't nobody gonna love your big tail, okay? If you're too dark skinned, nobody wants anybody dark skinned. If your hair is too, you get what I'm saying? It's all of these caveats. But both of these women, in their own timing, found their partners that they're happy with. I've seen people, which it's the nobodies online, the keyboard warriors, talk about Halle Berry because she's gotten older, because she's almost 60. Oh, she ain't what she used to be. Well, who is? Why are you comparing a 24, 25-year-old Halle Berry to almost 60-year-old Halle Berry? She's a grown woman. People age. It's really, truly a blessing to be able to age these days. A lot of people don't have that opportunity. A lot of people don't have that blessing. But it really did strike me because I'm pretty sure people thought, oh, with Halle Berry, she's so beautiful. The first man who gets to her will not let her go because of her beauty, will not mistreat her because of her beauty. I'm pretty sure they told Gabourey, because of her being a heavier set woman, a darker skinned woman, well, nobody's going to love you. You're not going to have a family. You're not going to have love because of, you not fitting into these standards. Again, some things, yeah, are universal. Is pretty privilege a thing? Sure. Okay. Do people discriminate against skin tone and color and Afrocentric features and, size? Of course they do. But everything isn't certain. You know what I'm saying? We've been taught that if you look a certain way, love will be easier and kinder and more secure. And if you don't, you should feel grateful for whatever shows up. So, you see it. You see that, oh, you should just accept whatever, depending on what you look like. And if you look like this, you deserve, this level of love and being taken care of because you look so good. And that's really not how love works. It's really not. I've seen the most beautiful women, the most fit women, who has the beauty standard, and I'm doing very hard air quotes, be neglected and disrespected and broken down in relationships. I've seen it countless numbers of times. You see it in Hollywood every day. You see these people chasing after this um, love and relationship because they're constantly being mistreated, no matter what they look like. I've also seen women who may not have fit the standard, or people have overlooked them a lot because they look different, because they may not be as thin or as light or whatever. And they find the love of their lives and they're being truly loved out loud and cherished for real. And I think a lot of us have to remember that love isn't a reward for being beautiful. That people don't find their forever love just by being beautiful. Some people do. Well, again, terms and conditions, right? Some people do, but that's not the case with everybody. It's not always just enough. Okay, sometimes it's a reflection of what you allow. Sometimes it's what you tolerate. Sometimes it's what you believe you deserve. Your confidence matter. Your boundaries matter. Your self-worth matters. And the truth is, honestly, love really can find you at any size, any stage of your life, and at any age. And there's no expiration date for romance. There's no body type requirement for being cherished. There's no guarantee either that being desired by the world means being loved at home. So I just wanted to put that out there and talk about it. It's what I observed. The contrast. And it's a beautiful contrast, but just the contrast of seeing both women get what they want. It made me happy. So if you ever felt behind or overlooked or like love passed you by, I just want you to know, okay, the story is still being written. Nothing is thin. Nothing is final. You just never know where it can come from. It has a way of finding people in the craziest ways. And maybe this is radical positivity, but I truly do believe that love still blooms and it still blossoms. Okay, so just wanted to share that. Now we are tootsie rolling over to Ask Hershey. Okay, and this one is about getting. First of all, before we get into this question, Mama, if you listening, go ahead, baby, and just turn the thing off. We go listen to episode 3. This ain't the episode for you. This is where you stop, okay? Because I'm grown, so I'm going to be having a grown conversation. You may not want to hear this. Um, and if you're being a prude, not you, mama. I ain't talking about you. Other listeners, if you're being a prude or this ain't for you, you might want to go to episode 3 because we being grown tonight, okay? So just trigger warning for some of y'all, okay? Let me get into the question. I have it written down, and I have it written down response as well. Okay. A listener wrote in that her husband and herself, they are empty nesters now. They love each other, things are good, but the spark feels a little dim. They've got an anniversary coming up, and she wants to know, how do I bring the spark back? All right, I wrote some stuff down, so let's talk about it. So, first things first, in my opinion, the spark starts with the mind. Okay. Before you touch anything, before you buy anything, before you plan anything, it starts mentally. And the fastest way to reconnect mentally is to slow down and really see your partner again. I mean, you got to really see him. Okay. Look at him when he's talking. Listen when he's telling you about his day. Not the oh, okay, yeah, all right. But really lean in and listen. And I hear me out. I know that it may sound trivial, but when you've been with someone for a substantial amount of time, it's not that you necessarily are drowning them out, but it can become mundane. Sometimes it could just be background noise, for lack of a better word. Okay. And it's nobody's fault, it's just life. But I think the intimacy will come back once the attention comes back. So look, listen, ask questions, be curious about him again, and then do some of the things that he likes to do. Okay. If he is a golfer, take him mini golfing or take him to Top Golf. Okay. If he's into games, sit in with him, ask him what type of game he's playing, ask him to show you how to play it. All right. If he loves music, cook him up his favorite dinner and then let his playlist play. Listen to his playlist. And while you're doing that, this is when we getting grown. Girl, you gotta touch your man, okay? You gotta touch on your husband. That's your husband, honey. He went ahead and married you, okay? And touch goes a long way, okay? Hand on his shoulder. Why is my y'all see this thing just slipped? Child, not my little jacket. What do you call this? Duster. Trying to get me in the mood. I don't forgot where I left off. You put your hand on his shoulder, rub his head. When he hugs you or you hug him, linger in, kiss him, compliment him. A lot of men don't get as many compliments as you think. A lot of men don't get as many compliments. Especially if they're getting older. Um, Go ahead and compliment that man. Oh, you looking, hold on now. Hey. You know how to do it. You know how to do it. It may take time to get back into the groove, but you know how to do it. You got to compliment him, tell him he looks good, tell him he smells good, tell him he's attractive and that you're attractive to him. Or, I'm sorry, that you're attracted to him. Okay? They need to hear it. Just like we as women need to hear that, we still raspberry. You know what I'm saying? We still, like they furnace. We want to hear that we're attractive to our men. Flirt with your man, baby. It sounds simple, but flirt. Flirt. Text him something sexy in the middle of the day. Baby, while you getting your beans on in the crock pot or whatever you cooking, go sit that thing on the counter and take a picture and send it to him. Okay? You can have this or you can have this or you can have both. Okay? Send him a nice little nasty text. Tell him that you're thinking about him. Okay? Get real sexy. Send him a voice note. Lean in. Tell him. Ask him about his day. Okay? Ask him about his day. And usually he's going to ask you, how's your day going? If he's got some manners. It's going okay. I'm just missing your hands around my neck. Something like that. Again, if you ain't supposed to be listening to this, mama and others, that's your fault. Insurance. And be playful. You know your man. I'm just freestyling here. But be playful, okay? You gotta have fun with it. All right. There's nothing wrong with that. You gotta have fun with it. I think that foreplay and sensuality is I mean, that's one of the perks of being a couple. And listen, this is actually a great season, okay, for my 40 and up crew. Baby Juvenile done came out with a track. Get all the aunties and mamas ready to throw that moo in the circle, throw that bonnet to the side or whatever. Like it's the time, and it's definitely the season, okay? Because you grown, okay? We're all grown. You know yourself. You know what you like. This is the era of leaning back into your sensuality. Okay, put on some music that feels good to you too. Okay, move your body. I'm an advocate on that. Move your body. I told you I took a dance class. Huh, baby. Okay, felt very sexy. Okay, very grown. Remind yourself of who you are. Okay, you. Because before it's a him, it's a you. Okay, and keep in mind, you're the woman that he fell in love with. Okay, he put a ring on your finger. Okay, he chose you to do life with. So do things that make you feel beautiful, and it'll transfer. Also, too, there's nothing wrong with a little extra help. If you are a person that likes lingerie, get the lingerie. Okay, get what flatters your body too. And let me just say this, okay? And this may not be you, but to my other female listeners, I'm gonna hold all your hands, okay? When I say this, please stop picking your body apart at each and every given moment. I'm so fat. Oh, I look like this. Oh, my titties don't do this. Oh, my booty cheeks don't bounce like they. Ma'am, this is Denny's. Okay. Like at the end of the day, he like it. He there. You there. Get you some lingerie that flatters your body. If you are confused about it, you can always go on TikTok. You can go on YouTube. You can Google. Okay, what your body type is. What would flatter your body type? There's something for everybody. Not the body that you want 20 pounds lighter, okay, or that you had 15 years ago. The body that you have now, get lingerie that accentuates what you got. If you are a gusty, busty woman, go ahead and lift them titties up, okay? Um, and do that. If you got legs for days, get something that's gonna show them legs. If you got a big old booty Judy, get something that's gonna grab, okay, hold of that booty. Okay. Jill Scott said, grab my meat. You need something that's gonna grab that rump. If you ain't got none of that, you can still got something that you want, and you know what I'm talking about. Showcase that. Let that okay. Let it move you, and because it's gonna definitely move him. You'll be just fine. And just start now. If you're also DM me again, let me know when the actual because you didn't mention it when the anniversary is, and we can go more in depth because this is still a family show, so I can't say all of my little secrets and whatnot. But DM me and we can probably have a little plan or something. I don't know. Oh, perfume the bed. If you don't already do that, some women do, some women don't. Perfume the bed. That's what I do. Um, perfume, perfume on them ankles. Perfume on them ankles. Okay, perfume on the back of the calves too. Because just put it there. Okay. Mm, I'm parched. If you're allergic to perfume, there's a coconut butter, shea butter, something lavender, something natural that you can wear. Baby lotion, something that's gonna make you feel beautiful, soft, and smelling good. If you're allergic or he's allergic, whatever, do it. Okay, aromatherapy does wonders. I'm just telling you. Okay. Um, the point is to reconnect with yourself so that you can reconnect with him too. Okay, and before we go, I have a question for you. Okay, for the viewers and listeners, what are your three non-negotiables in how you want to be loved? Let me know. What are your three? Like, gotta have it, gotta have it, gotta have it. For how you want to be loved. Okay, and you don't have to share them just yet. Just be honest with yourself. Okay. And if you're not receiving those, maybe it's time to instill that. Now let's get into one of my favorite parts of the show. And this is the Songs of the Evening Romance Edition. Since we're talking about love tonight, talking about real love and real desire, romance reimagined, I had to do my due diligence, okay? If you did not know this about me, I am also a songwriter. I write with a collective called Writerverse, and we live in this space, okay? The space of storytelling, emotion, bridges that make you close your eyes, and lyrics that say something, all right? So when I talk about love and music, I'm not just talking about it as a listener, I'm talking about it as a writer, okay, who understands how much intention goes into creating a feeling that lasts. And the reason music hits me so deeply is because it's a connection to my dad. Now, y'all know that my dad has been, deceased for the last 5 years, but he was an artist, he was a songwriter, musician, and he actually taught me how to write music. I want to say maybe six, I think 6 years old. He broke down what a song was. I'm gonna try to get through this without tearing up. He broke down what a song was by Tevin Campbell's "Can We Talk," which was written by Babyface. That's why I have such a deep appreciation for Babyface because of how he storytells. I always thought that he was amazing. I actually met him before. We'll talk about that on another day. um, but those are one of the songs that my dad taught me how to write music on was Tevin Campbell's "Can We Talk," and breaking down what a verse is, what a chorus is, what a bridge is. So I'm sentimental about it. Now, when we move into my era of music, okay, my decade, all right, we've got artists who carried the torch and made it feel real grown. I'm going to talk about Lloyd for a moment because personally, I don't feel like he gets his flowers as he should. Now, I will say, between the last, I want to say 2 years, maybe three, I think that he's getting a lot more of his flowers than what he had been getting. But Lloyd really had some good albums. And I feel like he's coming out with a new one soon. I really hope he does. Because let me tell you something, baby. Let me tell you what went triple, quadruple platinum in my home, okay? Street Love and True. Both of those albums are no skips. You're going to play it all the way through, and then you're going to replay it and run it back. Okay? Street Love, you got Hazel, you've got One for Me. You know how I feel about Players Prayer. Oh my God. Um, you've got you've got so many hits on that album alone. And like I said, each and that certified, like I'm goodness. Now I'm gonna tell you one of the songs on the album that I've been having on repeat, honey. Off the True album, Porcelain. If you have not gotten into Porcelain, please get into it. Add that to your romantic playlist, okay? Please. It is such a sexy song. It is so sexy. Off of the Street Love album, One for Me, you definitely need to add that. You definitely need to add that. Street Love itself, the song Street Love, you need to add that. Obviously, Players Prayer. I mean, like I said, you really can play the whole thing. Okay, front to mic. All right. Lloyd literally did his biggest ones. I am really hoping that he comes out with another album. I feel like this is his season. I do, especially when it comes to R&B. Okay, I feel like we are getting back into the R&B groove. Like people are wanting to talk about substantial relationships again. Okay. Now I like to back that thing up like the next broad. All right. I like to toot that thing up, mommy, let it roll, just like the next, just like the next diva. But honey, sometimes I want to, hear a little love. All right. I can't forget about the women. Now the women for me, I wrote them down, honey, because and it's not everybody. Okay, I have a huge list of people who I hold dear as far as music, but I definitely wrote down Tamia. Okay, I definitely wrote down Shantae Moore, Brandy, Monica, Maya, Sierra, Marsha Ambrosius, Layla Hathaway, Destiny's Child, Escape, and SWV, Jasmine Sullivan, Ari Lennox, Summer Walker, Jill Scott. Jill Scott has an album coming out on the 13th, right before Valentine's Day. Jill Scott said, hug me all over or touch me all over, squeeze my meat. I don't know why I grabbed my boobs, but you get what I'm saying. She said squeeze her meat. Now, when I first, when I heard her say that, I said, Jill, now, why would you? But you know what? Jill said I'm grown. And I saw on one of the interviews that she gave is that she was tired of seeing people and hearing about people having mediocre, hunching sessions. And she wanted something that was like, y'all need to hunch and y'all need to hunch real good because what if you can't go to Bella Noche's, then where can you go? And I agree. Like, go ahead, Jill. Tell them to get their meat squirrels or squeeze said meat. You know, because why not? I mean, I'm not mad at it, and it's right before Valentine's Day. So, baby, you got a crispy 24 hours to practice whatever she preaching on the album. I would be wearing that thing out if I was y'all. If I was y'all, not me, I'm a virgin, but go ahead and wear that album out, girl. Go ahead, get your meat squirrels. Um, but yeah, I'm not gonna forget about my brothers. Okay, we got Stokely, Joe, Tank, Usher, Anthony Hamilton, Maxwell, Kim. Okay, hey girl, I love me some Kim. Ooh, I love when he hits that a girl. When he hits that, it's gonna always be a girl for me. Pray. He gonna always hit that, and it's gonna go up in my home. Okay, I can't wait till he tour again, baby. I swear I'm gonna get the most auntie outfit and sway and rub my knees and ankles in that crowd. I also can't forget about my vanilla chocolate brother John B. Okay, whom I had the pleasure of interviewing. Okay, if you missed it, you can go on my YouTube or on my TikTok. It should be pinned. You can check that out. He's such a classic gentleman, and that's why I love R&B. It doesn't rush. You still got these people who have been in the game for eons. Their songs hit like it came out yesterday. I just love that. I really do. All right, beautiful people, you have heard me talk about love, various subjects, about music, all that good stuff. And now we are coming to the end of our show where I read you a bedtime story. Now, this story that I wrote is called Fire Beneath the Frost. Okay, so if you have a nice warm drink or a nice cold drink, you want to get nice and snuggled up and cozy, go ahead and do that. And let me read you a bedtime story. They decided not to let the cold stop them. That was the thing she loved about this night, the intention behind it, the quiet agreement that love didn't need perfect conditions to be expressed. The city was dressed in winter, lights flickering against glass and steel, storefronts glowing like small, warm promises. Snow felt gently, not heavy, not demanding, just enough to soften the edges of everything. As they walked downtown, she watched the way the flakes caught in his coat, the way his breath showed up before his words did. She slipped her arm through his without thinking. It felt natural now, easy. Inside her, something settled. They had planned this date knowing the weather would test them, knowing the sidewalks would be slick and the air sharp. But there was something about choosing each other anyway, about stepping into the cold together, that felt symbolic. The love, she thought, isn't always warm on its own. Sometimes you create the warmth. As they walked, the city hummed around them. Cars passed, laughter spilled out of restaurants, music drifted through revolving doors. And still, somehow, it felt like they were the only ones in their own pocket of quiet. Their pace matched, their steps aligned. She watched him from the corner of her eye, the way he stayed slightly to the outside of the sidewalk, the way he checked the curb before they crossed, the way his hand found hers again, as if to remind her he was there. And she thought about how grown love shows up, not in grand gestures meant for applause, but in care, in attentiveness, in presence. They stopped at a corner, waiting for a light to change, snowflakes landing in her lashes, melting slowly. She laughed softly, and he reached up, brushing one away with his thumb, lingering just a second longer than necessary. Her body responded before her thoughts did. She leaned into him, letting her coat fall open just enough to feel his warmth. The chill pressed against her cheeks, but her hands were warm because he was holding them. She loved that contrast, the way winter made closeness feel deliberate. Snowflakes fell around them like petals, settling on shoulders, eyelashes, scarves. She thought how funny it was that people chased romance in spring when everything bloomed easily, when the world did the work for you. But this was romance that chose itself. They walked on, gym shoes crunching softly, lights reflecting off the pavement. She felt herself growing quiet, not because there was nothing to say, but because everything she needed was happening right in front of her. She thought about how far she'd come, how many winters she spent bracing herself instead of being held, how often love had felt like something had to prove or perform. And here she was now, walking downtown with someone who didn't rush her, power walking ahead of her, didn't pull her forward, didn't need her to be anything other than present. They ducked into a ramen spot just long enough to warm up and nourish their cold bodies. Low lights, amber glow, hip hop playing overhead. They dined on the spicy noodles, smiles widened, knees brushing under the table. Nothing exaggerated, nothing forced. She watched the condensation slide down her glass and thought about time, how it stretched when they're comfortable, how it slows when you stop checking the clock. When they stepped back outside, the cold greeted them again, sharper now. He noticed her ears immediately, pulling his hat from his head and settling it over hers. Trust me, he said quietly. It helps. She smiled, heart softening at the familiarity of it. This, she realized, was what loving out loud looked like. Not shouting it, not proving it, but choosing it. In weather like this, in moments like these, when staying inside would have been easier. They walked slower now. The night stretched ahead of them. She felt the desire build, not urgent, not consuming, but steady. A warmth that started in her chest and spread outward. She imagined later warm rooms, coats dropped, hands exploring familiar places, the kind of intimacy that didn't need choreography, the kind that came from knowing each other's rhythms. But for now, this was enough. The walk, the snow, the city breathing around them. She squeezed his hand, and he squeezed back. No words needed. As they passed another row of lights, she thought about how winter doesn't stop love. It clarifies it, strips it down to intention and effort and care. And as the snow continued to fall, she knew it was the kind of love she wanted to keep choosing, the kind that stayed warm even when the world turned cold. If that moment felt familiar, if you've known a love like that, or you're still waiting for it, let yourself believe it exists. Sometimes romance isn't about the season, it's about who walks with you through it. And tonight, that's enough to rest with. Now, if you want a little more, feel free to email me at thescoophs@gmail.com with the tag still awake. Okay, we could talk a little bit more, talk about some reflections, some playlists. If you have any questions of the night that you want me to read anonymously, you can also email me at the same place, thescoophs@gmail.com with the hashtag question. Alrighty, Scoops, that's the end of our episode. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Wherever you are tonight, whatever you're doing, I hope you're being gentle with yourself. And I'll talk to you soon. After Dark. Peace.